Hey, what's going on guys? Spotty Underdog here, and in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how to build a simple two blast furnace engine. This will produce 32,000 RPM or stress units per furnace. So that's going to be a total of like 64,000 stress units. It's going to be very good. You'll need, for the materials that you'll need 2 chutes, 2 encased fans, a gear shift, 2 blast furnaces, 2 funnels. They don't have to be brass funnels, but I'm using brass here just because it's easier for me, and you know what? If you're going to be loading a lot at a time, you're going to want to use brass funnels. Almost like if you're using stacks at a time rather than one at a time. 2 furnace engines, 2 flywheels, 2 gearboxes, some shafts. I'm not exactly sure on the amount that you need to, so I just grabbed a stack. You'll need some encased chain drives. You'll need 3 for the engine itself. An adjustable repeater, 3 adjustable pulse repeaters, an observer, redstone dust. The observer is for when you're activating the system. A redstone dust. You'll also need a lever, because this will help with your activation of the server. A target block, a hopper, 2 vertical gearboxes, 2 dread kelp blocks, 3 mechanical belt. So actually, you'll technically need like 4 or something. Yeah, you'll need like 4 mechanical belts because of the way that I have it splitting it up. Me not being prepared. 3 breast tunnels, 2 iron ore, a lever, some sails, a windmill bearing, a rotational speed controller, a large cogwheel, and I already had a lever. Silly me. And of course, you'll need some building blocks. I don't have any building blocks on me because I am just stupid. But any old building block will do. On to the tutorial. So obviously, this creative crate with this brass funnel here is just going to symbolize our fuel. So we're going to start by setting up where our furnaces or engines are going to be. So we're going to say this is where we have our tunnel come in. And so this would be where we have 1 shaft here. I really need to give myself a wrench. We can do that, and that, 2, 3, and do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we're going to take a mechanical belt and go here to here, like that. So now if I were to open this were going, our fuel source or whatever we're getting our kelp blocks from would just come this way. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to take our building blocks, move say 3 blocks this way, place 1 here and 1 here. Then take our blast furnaces and place 1 here and 1 here. Then we're going to take our furnace engines and go boop, boop. Take our flywheels, place a support block down, and make sure you have it oriented correctly. Rotated correctly, at least so that they're pointing in. So that's it for that. Then what we're going to want to do is place a shaft here. And then we can just do that for a temporary block, and then we're going to want to have a block. And then what we're going to do is we can break this block, have a shaft here, and now we're ready for our bit of alignment, and where we go 1, 2 with that. We put another mechanical belt here, and another mechanical belt here, and then we take our brass tunnels, and we go 1, 2, 3, and then we can just put a filter for some item that isn't going to be coming out, so like say dirt, and then we'll do this. Then we take our 2 funnels, place 1 here and here. So this is how the fuel is going to end up coming into the system. Now technically you don't exactly need a windmill bearing because you can just have it powering your belt system, but it's just helpful because for it to not be for whatever you're using to send items in to be a separate fuel, to be a separate source, just because you're going to be using a lot less. Whoop, just threw off a building block there. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to come up here. Next is we're going to come up here. We're going to take 2 chutes, place one here and here. I like to have them clear, you don't have to. And then another thing that we might want to do is you can either choose to split, but I prefer to do round robin because it just means one stack will come here, one stack will come there. If I were to just quickly grab a windmill bearing, place your windmill bearing somewhere where, like, have some form of navigation, like via shaft and gearboxes. That's why you would want to have a bunch of this. But this windmill is just here to show you where a temporary position for it, because we are actually going to be speeding this up to a higher speed. But as you can see, it will spin, and it's not. And as you can see, it's very slowly doing that. So what I'm just going to quickly do is do this, break that back up. And as you can see, you just want to make sure everything is connected. And then what we'll use and then we'll take to connect this up with this. As you can see, this is connected here, so we don't need to via in-case chain drive, so we don't have to worry about that. So now we're going to start by setting up our windmill. So we're just going to take that, some gearboxes and some shafts, which we have here. We're going to place down our rotational speed controller here. Here we'll place down a shaft. We might need to put a gearbox down here depending on the rotation of our thing. We're going to do that. Then we're just going to come up this way. I'm going to make a second vertical gearbox. Place that down. Place down our windmill, and place down a bunch of sails. Now we don't need that much stress capacity because simply we're just powering the belts, and as you can see, our belts are now moving. So if I were to unpower this, as you can see, we can start getting kelp flowing through stacks at a time. I'm going to let this, and as you can see, part of the reason why we might want to do, why you do that is because it did that and makes it so that a full stack of items goes in at a time. Like, say you just take out a stack of items, they'll come in. I'm going to shut that off, and I'm going to shut this off. This crate is to simulate critically. It's just to simulate your source of fuel. It's fairly simple to make a dried kelp farm and a dried kelp automated cooker. You technically don't need to run kelp through your furnaces, and since this is a blast furnace, you can't run kelp through it, so you don't need to run and use any more fuel than you absolutely have to. Anyways, so next up, we're just going to I'm 1 hopper short. You need 2 hoppers. Silly me. I'll put the full list of items in the description, but then you're going to take, and me knowing that. So you're going to take your hopper, and you're going to go place 1 here and 1 here, and then you're going to place a target block here. You're going to take some of your redstone dust, place 3 down right here on top of this, then grab your building block, place a block here, then do that, and then what you can simply do is just place a block off to the side with some dust on it. Grab your lever and do that. That will lock your hopper so they won't put any items into the chute. And then you just take 1 item, put it there, and then take another item and put it there. So next up that we're going to do is make it so that we can get a signal. It's going to put our 2 encased fans. We're going to place 1 encased fan here. Make sure that it is pointing down into your chutes. Then you're going to take a gearbox, place it down, grab your shafts, go 1, 2. Then grab a vertical gearbox and a gear shift. You're going to place a gear shift right here, facing up. take your vertical gearbox, and place it there. There, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and place our 3 encased chain drives. Now, if you're wondering why we're using encased chain drives and not the gearbox, is actually because of a simple fact here that if we were to use a gearbox, well, sorry, if we were to use mechanical belts, not a gearbox, that would contribute to the stress units, and since that's being powered, we want to make sure that we're using as few as possible, and this uses 64 stress units when being powered by these furnace engines, so it can be pretty annoying. So, and then we're just going to place another gearbox here, and then what we can do to test to make sure it's working is we can let the fuel go, and what should happen is, as you can see, once I've now re-locked it, is that our ore is being sucked up into these chutes. So there is our first test. Test that shows that our ore is actually being kept in there. So now I'm just going to put these ore back in. So you might be wondering, why is this redstone necessary? Sorry, so the next part is yeah, well, yes, we could let this run. There'd be probably a brief, as you can see, there's 32,000, so this is around 65,000 stress units that can be outputted from one engine, but why do we need redstone? The redstone is actually for timing purposes. So we can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Place that there. Oh wait, and 7, 8. Place 2 dust here and 2 dust here. Then we're going to grab our adjustable pulse repeater and our adjustable repeater, and place this here and make it a 3-second delay. Set it to a 3-second delay. It takes 5 seconds to smelt something in the furnace, so we want to do that. And then we're just going to place down our remaining 3 adjustable pulse repeaters. We're going to set this one to a minute, since a dried kelp, now this will vary depending on what fuel you use. If you use blocks of coal, you're going to have a longer time. If you use dried kelp blocks like I am, you're going to want to follow what I'm doing. You're going to want to set this to your first one to 1 minute of delay. Because it's 1 minute. And since we have 3 seconds here, that's 1 minute and 3 seconds. That's 63 seconds. And it burns for a total of 100. We're going to set this to 36 seconds. And why not 37? Well, the reason why we don't do 37 is because there's 4 ticks of total delay that get added on. So we need to account for that. So we set this to 36 seconds, and then we set this to 16 ticks because there's 4, each one of these adds an additional tick of delay, so you're accounting for that by making it 16 ticks. That's 20 ticks, which is a second. So you get 1 second here, 3 seconds here, a minute here, and 36 seconds here. And that gives you your time. But we need to ensure that this signal gets sent. So in order to send a signal, what we do is we take an observer, and I'm just realizing I built this 1 block too low. I am too low. Make sure you build it on the right layer. You need to build it such that it's actually powering the block that the gear shift is on. Silly me. Then we're going to build out 2 blocks this way, place an observer down. And then you're going to take your redstone dust wiring. Right. Once you have your delay set to 16 ticks, once you have everything set up, what you can simply do is activate your windmill, pull the lever, and the farm will activate, and the machine will activate, and then just simply remove any excess weight and excess building blocks that you're not using. Be careful not to remove any blocks that might actually be used in the build, but once you've done it, you can just simply take your output from this gearbox right here, and you're ready to go. Now, of course, you can encase these shafts to make it look nicer. I'm not going to do that. And then, of course, just remove any support material you may have left, and pick them all up. No, that's not a support block. I would just recommend using a different block for your support. But in the end, you should end up with something looking like this. Granted, I use dirt as my building block. You don't have to. So you should have a lever here, building block, redstone dust on top of this, and then a building block, target block with 2 hoppers. This is to ensure that we get the right signal. And then we have a gearbox here. Now, granted, I could put a second gear shift in that just reverses the direction, or have it set so that you could do it with a powering system. It's just simpler to just put another gearbox in there. It's also cheaper to do it that way, and just way more. It's technically not cheaper. Sorry, it's more compact to do it that way. And technically, you don't need this fancy activation system. You can just do that, and then it'll balance itself out over time. This just allows it so that the ore gets inputted, and this activates at the same time. And yeah. So the cut blocks will go into the engine. The engine will smelt. The ice will cook. And what's actually really nice is that this will still generate energy without the item being in there. And this is for create in there. So as long as the furnace is cooking, we generate energy, which allows us to generate a lot of energy. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, a comment, or a dislike if you so choose, and maybe hit that little red button below, and I hope you all have a great day, and goodbye!